Some spectacular views looking across modern downtown Kyoto. It's a pretty large city, as you see here. It goes for miles. Typical of Japan, most of the contemporary architecture is very plain and utilitarian. There's a monk waiting to receive some offerings. But this neighborhood around the temples is not modern at all. You see here one of the older streets of town now, with the old classic wooden facades all along it, with traditional shops and restaurants, tea houses, snack bars. Really makes for a lovely walk. And so after you've explored the temple grounds, you exit along the shopping streets, and it leads to this pedestrian cobblestone lane called Sona. It's one of the oldest streets in town. Traditional buildings and tea houses, little gardens here. Here's a typical tea house garden with a path that leads you in towards the tea house, in line with other traditional wooden buildings here along Sona. Shops and restaurants. And here you might see what looks like some geisha in traditional costume, or perhaps Maiko, the geisha in training. But no, actually these are Japanese tourists. It's a tradition here among some younger ladies to get dressed up like Maiko. And you pay about $70, $80 to one of the several costume shops in the area here. You'll see some more of that in just a moment. So this street is just a perfect spot for strolling and hanging out. You can sit down on a bench and just watch the parade of people go by if you like. Nice place to rest up, have a snack. Another of the tea gardens. This is a commercial garden attached to a restaurant. Some more tourists dressed up like Maiko, and they can also hire a rickshaw driver who will take them around in the district and take their photograph for them, tell them some about the history of the area. And so if you see geisha-looking ladies carrying around their digital cameras and taking pictures of each other, well, they're not really geisha. They're tourists out having fun for the day. More of these spectacular colors all along the way. And then we arrive at Maruyama Park. This is a classic walk, and it leads you into another path with a bridge crossing over the pond, and the path can continue up along the stream if you wish for another quarter mile. It's a very easy stroll with these beautiful weeping willow trees, and there's some ducks, there's crows, some locals feeding the ducks here. Maruyama is a wonderful and famous place to do some relaxing, and there's some nice restaurants here as well too. In a moment we're going to take you into one of the classic restaurants of Maruyama. A little stroll along the stream here. It only takes about a half an hour to walk from that previous temple of Kiyomizu over to Maruyama Park. So this is really one of the most popular strolls in all of Kyoto. We're in the eastern part of Kyoto, the Higashiyama district. And now we're entering a venerable old restaurant, the Cohen Restaurant. It was established 300 years ago. This is considered a temple restaurant where they feature the famous Shojin Ryori vegetarian temple cuisine. And they have the Imobo cuisine, which is one of the renowned dishes of Kyoto. And you can see I was very satisfied with the large and delicious meal. One of their specialty items here is the potato. It's a mountain potato that was brought down and replanted at the Maruyama Hill area. Yasaka Jinja is a Shinto shrine. It's just on the west edge of Maruyama Park, bordering with the Gion district. A visit here can help bring you health and prosperity. So we cross the street and go back once again into the Gion district. This is the Geisha district, and here she comes. A classic beauty of the geisha. Especially with the movie out now, the Memoirs of the Geisha, and the best-selling book, this is becoming a very popular neighborhood for the visitor to go take a stroll and find some geisha. And yes, you will see them. They have to walk out from one restaurant to the next and meet their customers. These are generally very well-trained ladies, schooled in the arts of conversation and culture, music and dance performance. Then we continue again on to Shijodori. We were here yesterday in the evening and we're back again, passing this famous kabuki theater that dates back several hundred years. It's called the Mina Mesa Theater, and it's very popular with the local audience. And now we are going to continue on into downtown with a little bit of a wander, again through the side streets and through the pedestrian covered arcade. It's similar to the routing that we took the night before. It was so interesting to enter this downtown modern situation in contrast with the old-fashioned peaceful gardens that we just had to keep coming back for more. Even in the middle of the shopping mall, they've got some shrines. There's a lot of temples here in Kyoto. There's 1,600 temples and 400 Shinto shrines. 17 of the locations in Kyoto have been designated as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We found another vegetarian restaurant. This is called Bota. Again, an obscure little location that was a little hard to find, but we persevered. We asked around the neighborhood, and sure enough, we found it on the street corner, as promised in the guidebook. We're using the Lonely Planet guidebook to Kyoto. Excellent resource. Back to our hotel. It's the new Miyako Hotel, located just next to the Kyoto train station. Very convenient location and a nice place. This was arranged for us actually by JTB, which is the main tour operator in Japan. And it was very pleasing accommodations, very traditional. And we ran into this interesting local scene in the lobby. It turns out a local gal's getting married.
Hello.
And she's marrying an American guy. She spoke very good English, so apparently she'd lived in America, met this fellow, and then brought him back to meet the family and have a wedding Japanese style in the full kimono outfits. You really don't see many kimonos out on the streets typically as you walk around in the modern cities, so it was really a treat to run into it there right in our hotel lobby. Then we're taking a taxi. Sometimes in Kyoto when you're getting around to the temples, it really is helpful to just take a taxi. Now you can take the public bus. They have a very good bus system. Or you can take the subway, which is somewhat limited in its range. And you can certainly walk from one temple to the next. But starting out this morning, we're going to the northeast part of town, which is a little too far for us to walk. And we were trying to save time rather than taking a bus and a subway. So we hopped in that taxi and it was really well worth it. Yes, we're heading up to the northeast part of town, and we're going to then be heading south for about a mile, visiting a series of wonderful temples along the way. We'll be taking you to the temples called Honen and Ginkakuji, Nanzen, and Chion. But first we're taking a stroll on the Philosophers Path. It's just about 1 mile long and very pleasant. You go along this canal and there's gardens, there's private homes, there's a beautiful hillside and more of these lingering fall colors. There are some little benches scattered here and there where you could sit down if you wish. But really it just takes about half an hour to have a leisurely stroll along the Philosopher's Path. And it's a very good way to start the day because obviously this is open from sunrise if you want to come out here early in the day. The temples will not open in some cases till 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And so if you're looking for something else to do earlier in the day, come here along the Philosophers Path. Nice gravel walkway, and there's some paved sections of the walkway. A few locals out. Now, during the summer season, during the middle of the day, this is going to be a very crowded area, and it won't be very philosophical. But in this time, it certainly was. Here's a cat on a leash. So well trained, he even knows where to go. Look at him lead the master across this little footbridge. That's a most unusual sight. Cat on a leash.